Hello guys, and welcome to Aussie Motor Tips here on YouTube. This channel is all about doing the jobs on your vehicles, i.e. motorbikes, cars, petrol lawnmowers even, lorries. All the simplest kind of way you can do it whilst getting the job done at the same time. Today is all about a Suzuki gsxr sports bike from 1997 manufacturing date, so it's a very old girl. Why do people say that? It's a very old bike. I don't know why people say girl or whatever. I don't know. So an oil change is due. You've got to do these every year, I would say, on something so old. Here on Aussie Motor Tips, we tend to kind of stick to the recommendations if you can. Again, if you're unsure on specifications for your vehicle, a Haynes manual is really good for specifications. If you want to use a Haynes manual to follow steps to do the job, then obviously you're totally in your right to do so. But yeah, either that or just do this, what I'm about to do. So, a Suzuki gsxr has, as far as I know, about 155 brake horsepower, all in one wheel. It revs really high. It's even revving quite high on idle, so there's a lot of potential friction, metal to metal contact, if this job is not done, or you starve the vehicle of oil. So oil levels are really important for this vehicle, well, any vehicle, but sports bikes are definitely important. So we're going to do an oil change, and you'll be pleasantly surprised how simple this is. I can personally, without recording, do an oil change, well, in 10 minutes. Everything's so simple to get to on a motorbike. And, well, it's a sump plug and it's an oil filter. So, talking about oil filters, unopened post again. Although there is a rip here. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, so let's get into it. I'm guessing this is the oil filter. Yeah. There's a sweet inside of that. What the? Goodwill gesture? Mr. Chew? Okay, right. I'll take it, whatever. Anyway. And a business card, okay. Cool, okay, thanks for the sweet. Really good. Okay, so oil filter. Preferably get a Suzuki oil filter. I would probably recommend that, really, but this will do the job. And there you go. One oil filter for my Suzuki gsxr. These oil filters are a lot better than the ones that go inside a case. I will say this now because it's on my mind, but I will demonstrate it anyway. Put fresh oil on the seal before you screw it on. Okay, it helps seal against the engine block, and make sure that you clean the area well before you fit a new filter. Okay, so that's one oil filter, and obviously what's important is oil. So okay, and we're going to go with this 10W40. The W stands for winter, as far as I'm aware. the density, or the how thick it can be at certain temperatures, basically. It is recommended, I think. I haven't looked at any Haynes manual on this one, but I ran this exact oil last year, and the bike's had no problems apart from an F1 code, actually. But I'm probably thinking that was a battery. I've changed the battery on another video, so have a look at that. But yeah, we're going with Shell Advance 1040, 100% synthetic, so it's fully synthetic. 4 litres should be enough, because if I remember rightly, the bike takes about 3.7 litres, something like that. So we'll leave a little bit left over. Okay, so yeah, let's change the blood in this motorbike, and that will be the clutch cable, the coolant, and the battery, and the oil all done, all in one whack. And that should leave a happy bike. Bear in mind, I will say that as soon as I get to the bike on a GoPro, the bike would have been started and hot. I'm saying this because what you need to do is, and this goes with any vehicle, not just a bike, please start the engine, let it run for 10 minutes at least, I would say. Well, 10 minutes is quite a lot, actually. Well, I don't know. Let it run. Let it get to a good temperature. Let the bike get up to about 70 degrees, maybe 60, you know, that's fine. Because then the oil will be thinner and it will just run out. It will come out that sump plug a lot better for you. That's recommended. You don't have to do that, but I recommend it. So that's what I'll be doing. Okay, guys? Okay, so when you see the bike in a minute, it's already ran, okay? It's already been prepped and everything, okay? Cool. Enjoy. Okay, so one Suzuki gsxr ready for an oil change. The oil filter is located on the front of the engine block on the right hand side as you sit on the bike. So this side. Right hand side of the bike, okay? So we're going to have to take the fairing off the right hand side with an Allen key. I think it's size 3. So these here, that. So we'll just quickly take that off to get to the oil filter, which is in there. That is, okay? That's why we're going to take it off. So let's get cracking and take that off. So like I said, when the bike's around 60 to 70 degrees, as you can probably see there, so it's about 66, 67. What you want to do then is crack open the sump plug. This is where it gets a bit messy, and the sump plug is right between right there. So it's right between the exhaust pipes, and it's a size 19. So what I'll do is I'll set you up there. Hopefully you'll be able to see. It's easier said than done. Hopefully that's a pretty good view. I don't know if it is, but I don't know, it's pretty good. And then we'll crack open the sump plug. Which is always easier said than done. There we go. We'll catch the warm oil that comes out. The bowl might be in the way now, but there's nothing really much I can do about that. There it goes. Sorry if the bowl's in the way, it's just I have to catch the oil, obviously. There it goes. One sump plug and oil coming out of it now. What I'll probably do as well is try and catch samples for you, but that's come out really fast because it's warm. That oil has come out really fast. It's done. That's really runny. It's really runny because, like I said, it's at 66 degrees. So that's good. We'll let that drain, and what we'll do now is go to the oil filter and we'll crack that open. There's the oil filter wrench. So the oil filter wrench goes over, obviously, the oil filter with a 1/2 inch wrench. So that's going to go anti-clockwise. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to go anti-clockwise with this oil filter, and you can see it moving already. Be patient. And the oil filter will come off. There it is. It's really slack now. And we'll bring the bowl over, and now that's hand tight, we'll just undo it, and the oil will piss out of here too. Like that. And there's your oil filter housing. And yeah, there's a lot of oil coming out, which is no surprise. Okay, so that goes in the scrap because that's useless now, and we'll let that drain for a bit. We'll have a coffee or whatever if you're not in a rush to get the bike back on the road. It is really important, although I can see this clean already because I've cleaned it every single time around here. Give it a good clean, a really good clean, because that is where the rubber is going to sit on your new filter. You can see that's clean. There's no old seal on it. That's really good actually. That's totally clean. Sometimes you'll see old bits of rubber that's like from the old filter, the rubber seal. It will sit on that housing. Obviously get rid of that because it's not gonna help the seal against the engine block, is it? Okay, so let's cut it here. I'm gonna have a bit of a break and we'll come back and fit the new parts. Also, what you want to do at this point is undo the sump. Undo the oil filler, which is annoying. Undo this because then it lets air get into the top. There we go. It'll just help drain a little bit, but it doesn't make a big difference like that, but if you want to be fussy.
Tilting the bike a little bit, getting as much oil as you can out. There you go, look, I'm tilting it and there's more oil coming out. Obviously, because I got it on the side stand, it's not exactly letting it all out. So that's a bit of a ball ache, but if you've got a paddock stand, put it on that. So I'll get back to you when we're fitting the new parts. To go with this bike, with oil changes, I tend to put some plumber tape on the threads, and there's a reason for that. I kind of do that mainly with most of my vehicles actually that I oil change. It's not the best practice, I'm going to admit, but it does assist with oil leaks at the sump for obvious reasons because it's plumber tape. But when I first got this bike years ago and I'd done its first oil change here at home, whoever had done it before me cross-threaded big time the sump plug to the sump. They completely sheared the threads of these in the sump completely off. It was a terrible job. The sump went in wonky, so I had to actually take the sump off the bike for, I would say, about 2 weeks, because I had to retap the threads in the sump, and then find a new sump, which is this one, years ago, to match the threads. It was an absolute nightmare. So when I do this sump plug up in a minute to hold the oil in the sump, I do get very nervous with tightening it up because all it'll take is one slip. So what I do is I put some plumber tape over it to assist the threads. So what you do is just wrap some tape around the threads. Nothing special. No one's going to see it. That is quite a rough job I'm doing there. Hang on, that's not good enough. Jesus. Hang on. Let me just get some scissors and start again. Okay. This plumber tape does have a mind of its own. That's more like it going on there. Again, I do know this isn't the best practice to do. I'm pretty much guarantee that garages won't be doing this. But at the same time, I know the history of this bike on oil changes, and I have kind of struggled ever since. So what this plumber tape will do is will assist any gap, and I'm talking literally millimeters, between the plug and the threads in the sump. And you actually don't need too much. I don't want to put too much on. Okay, we'll do that. That's fine. Maybe too much, but it's okay. Okay, so as you can see as well, I've gone this way round. So when I tighten it up clockwise, it goes against what I've just put on the threads, okay? That's important as well, because if you did it the other way around and you'd be going against the end of the tape, it would just kind of like unravel it again as you put it in. But this is the right way. And then ideally you want a new washer, but I can't find one, so that's not the best either. So let's get this sump plug back on and see how it goes. don't know if you can see that. The sump plug is back on, and tighten it up but nicely. I don't want to strip the threads again like someone else did. That's quite tight. That's like just over hand tight at the minute. Okay, that's a little bit more than just over hand tight now. So we'll try that first. And now for the oil filter. So let me get that. Okay, so new oil filter that I unpacked in the intro. Just take that off. Okay, so you see this seal going around? Rubber seal. You want to get some oil on the tip of your finger. Like that, and just smear it around. That was a bit messy then. Okay, like that. That's pretty good. And then get some oil and fill up the oil filter as well. Only a little bit, nothing major. Oh crap. Whoops. Okay, just like that. And then we just screw it on by hand. I completely underestimated how much oil there was in that can then. No majors. Screw it on by hand till it meets the engine block, and then what you want to do is do it up hand tight. Just like that. If you want to be totally fussy, I like to do this, but I don't recommend it because it should be just hand tight. But just literally, I like to make it just over hand tight for me, which is about there. But yeah, it should be just hand tight, okay? Because that's just my personal preference. You're more than welcome. My advice is just hand tight. And then, so that's the oil filter and sump plug back on. Now we get the new oil and fill it in there till the spyglass shows full. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so you're back on my head now. We've got a funnel which leads right to where the oil should be going in, and you can see the top of my clutch there. I don't know if you can see that. That's where the clutch plates are. This is the beauty of a motorbike, is the clutch and engine oil. There's all in one really. This is a wet clutch bike. So what you want to do is get your new oil, obviously, and keep an eye on the spyglass. It should obviously start to fill up to the F. So we're pouring it in now. Not too fast because that happens. I'll just turn that. Ugh, such a sloppy job. If I'm honest, the fairing's a little bit in the way, so you might want to just leave the fairing off at this point. I was impatient. I'll be the first to admit. Could really do an extension, really. Extension on this funnel, which I have got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort that out, because I can't really do it like this. Okay, so I've got an extension on it now, so we'll try again. I kind of had that funny feeling it would happen. Okay, that's going in there now. A nice kind of golden syrup. Because that extension is quite thin at the end, it's going to take a bit of time. But it's worth the wait. At this point you want to make sure that your bike is upright as possible. Again, on a paddock stand will be perfect. I've got a paddock stand, but I'm being kind of lazy, but I'm going to take into the account that the bike's a tiny bit to the left, so I'm going to go under the F, so when it's upright it should go to the F, the full. Yeah, so I'm going to fill this up. I'm going to get back to you when we start to see it on the spyglass, and we'll start filming again then, I suppose. Else this video is going to get very boring. You can see it is going in, but just taking its time. But at least it's not going all over the floor. That's the main concern. Also, at this point as well, you might want to check your sump to see if you're getting leaks. Okay, so I'll get back to you when it's spyglass. Okay, we've started to see something at the spyglass now. Don't know if you can see that. It's at low level. It's starting to creep up as the oil comes in. Best so you can see that. There is oil now dripping in.
And as I said, I'll be going just below full because the bike is leaning to the left a little bit. So just put some more oil in. A little bit more. And we'll see that level rise and rise. This should be enough. I do like the sight of new oil in the engine. It does look really good. So yep, new oil going in. And the level should be just about right when that lot is finished. Okay, so it's just under full. So when I tip the bike up, it should be on full. And that is that. Awesome. Yeah, just under full. I'm expecting that level to drop when I start the engine, mind. I am fully expecting that. So we'll put that over there. Okay. So when I tip the bike up now, it should go to full. Okay, so if anything, that's just over. But when I start the bike up, it should level itself out. So we'll put the cap on. And then what you do is you start the bike and you check for leaks on the oil filter and the sump plug. Mainly on this bike because I know the history of the sump plug. I'll be looking at the sump plug very carefully. So let's start it and see if we got any leaks. Okay, so the bike started. It's been running for a couple of minutes now. We're going to look. Dry off this whole area. So it's looking like that. The reason why we dry it off, well, it's simple. If we get rid of all the excess oil from the oil change, then we'll know if there's a leak if now we see new oil. If that makes sense. Still no leak at the sump. The oil filter looking alright. Okay, so it's hot today.
the easiest way to check the oil filter is not leaking is to note where the oil dripped off when you took the filter off, the old filter, and I know that it dripped onto the exhaust. So if I see oil on the exhaust in a minute, on the oil filter side, then I know I've got a leak on the oil filter. In that case, if you do, you undo the oil filter and do it back up, undo, do it back up, undo, do it back up until it stops, basically. If it doesn't stop, then you've got a problem with the seal or with the oil filter itself. Okay, so I'm going to check it now myself. Check it over without the camera rolling, and yeah, all good. Looks to be fine. Okay, so I have no leaks, from what I can gather. There was oil coming from the oil filter, but as the engine heats, the oil on the outside is going to thin out and it's going to start dripping. So I'm gathering that's what it was, because it seems to be calming down as it's being used. So the oil that I spilt doing the oil filter change is just basically just letting itself be known as it's thinning out with the heat of the engine. It's just dripping onto the exhaust. This is quite normal. If it continues, obviously, throughout the day or whatever, then you have a leak. But I'm guessing that's what it was, is me just being very clumsy with the oil. So that is how you do an oil change on a Suzuki GSXR 750 fuel injection. Let's go inside and have a quick review, and I mean quick because these reviews can go on for a bit, I know.
That is how you do a oil change on a Suzuki GSXR srad from 1997 manufacturing date. You'll have to excuse what I'm wearing. I'm absolutely boiling today. It's a massively hot day. Anyway, the things that went wrong is, well, I was just clumsy with the oil. That was the only thing that went wrong, I think. I pretty much got it everywhere when I was filling up the oil filter. But, you know, that's just me. Bit clumsy, bit enthusiastic to get the oil in there, and I tipped it just too far and it went everywhere. You've seen that on the video, I think. But I also promised that I would get some samples for you before and after of oil. So here they are. After, that's the new oil, and before. I'm sure you would agree that is one hell of a difference. I've done this on my brake fluid video for the Mini as well, sampling, and I had to prove to you that was not apple juice. Again, that is not apple juice. That is literally the oil coming right out the can, and that is literally, as you've seen on the video anyway, because it was in the bowl, that is the oil that came out of my bike. So this is why we do the oil change, guys. Although there is nothing wrong with that oil, it's the same kind of, you know, as you can see, look, it's kind of behaving the same. I mean, that's not a thorough test, just shaking it like that, but there isn't nothing wrong with that oil, not really. I mean, it's gonna lubricate, but it's at the end of its life, in my opinion. So yeah, we do an oil change and oil filter change. And we, well, transform it to this lovely syrup colour. Okay, so there's a good example of why we do it. Many people out there are like, the engine running, you know, the engine is running, why do I need to do this? It's fine. Why do I need to do anything? Because the engine is running, it's fine, everything's good, I go to work and back, absolutely fine. Yeah, okay, great. You know, it's really easy to be complacent about vehicles and think nothing of it. But my bike was running absolutely fine. But look at the difference. So my bike was running fine with the old coolant in it. My bike was running fine with the old clutch cable. The clutch was working, but I kept adjusting it all the time. So vehicles do tell you that things are wrong before they actually go wrong. And just take a look. It's telling you that there's one hell of a difference between the two colours. So it needed to be done. Okay, cool. Old, new. I'm glad I was able to get some samples. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, subscribe, like the video. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. You know, I'm not forcing you, but it'd be great to have some support. It's really hard to do these videos actually. I'd rather just get on with the job. But I want to film these to help you guys get an idea of what you're doing if you want to do it yourself. So yeah, it's not easy to film and do the job at the same time. So yeah, that is an oil change on a Suzuki gsxr 750 srad fuel injection 1997. Yeah, there you go guys. Okay, thanks for watching and see you on the next one.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
That's my